My name is Campion. I'm going to talk to you about some of the key points for pre-lambing nutrition for sheep. So I suppose first and foremost is to consider what are we actually feeding the ewes. So for most farmers this will involve feeding a forage along with supplementary concentrates. So with our forage we should be testing our forage to know what quality is in it and looking at the level of DMD, which is a measure of quality, and also the HFIS value, which is going where the samples are analysed by athletes to look at the intake potential of that silage. These are the two things that are going to affect forage intake and are also going to lead on to affect the amount of meals that you're going to need to feed and for how long you're going to need to feed meal pre-lambing. So ideally our forages should be a good high 75 to 80 DMD silage. Where not, we're going to have to increase the level of meal we're feeding and probably the length of time we're feeding meal for. So also when we're feeding forage, it's important that we're keeping ad lib forage in front of the ewe. For intake, forage intake is going to be restricted for the final few weeks before lambing due to the growth of the lambs within the ewe. So it's important that we keep silage pushed up to the ewe at all times to maximise our intake, which will struggle to exceed 1 kilo dry matter of forage in the final weeks pre-lambing. For the ration that we're feeding then, it's important to look at the ingredients included within the ration and the crude protein content. All rations for pre-lambing ewes should be at least 18 to 20% crude protein, and you should look at the ingredients list on the ration, with the ingredients in the greatest concentration within the ration listed at the top, down to the ingredients with the lowest concentration within the ration down at the bottom. And ideally within those first 2 to 3 ingredients within the ration list, we're looking for a high energy source such as barley or maize, and we're looking for a high quality protein source such as soybean meal. When we're feeding these rations then, it's important that we consider the level of feeding. Obviously ewes that are scanned for twins are going to need more than ewes scanned for singles, and ewes scanned for triplets are going to need more than ewes scanned for twins. Where we're feeding levels of meal above 0.5 or 0.6 of a kilo, it's important to use split feeding. So we're feeding twice a day with an 8-hour gap between each of the feeds once we go above 0.5 or 0.6 of a kilo. And where very high levels of meal are being fed above 1.2 of a kilo, it probably needs to be fed in three feeds during the day. It's also important when we're feeding ewes that they have enough space at the trough. So what we would be saying is that each ewe, for a typical 80 kilo ewe, needs about 0.6 of a metre of trough space. This is important where meals are restricted, as when meals are fed there will be a rush to the trough. Where there's less than 0.6 of a metre, ewes will be too tight at the trough, leading to ewes not getting into enough feed, and also leading to potential of slip lambs or hurt ewes. When we're feeding ewes like this, it's important also when we measure our trough space that we consider any corners in the pens and any areas that may be blocked during feeding that will prevent ewes from getting in feeding, as we may need to add in extra space to accommodate this.